My guest tonight here in Los Angeles, you know him, you love him. Dr. Chris Gore is here. And all right. In San Francisco, host of the Daily Mahalo, Veronica Belmont joins us. And also here in LA, associate editor for the new sci-fi blog, io9.com, Kevin Kelly. First off, Kevin, congrats on the success of IO9. I heard it was like huge launch for Gawker, right?
Thank you. Yeah, biggest ever Gawker new launch. So it was a great day for us.
Well, we can't wait to poach all of your content for our show. So thank you for that. Let's talk about the past 2 weeks where Xbox Live has experienced problems. People are having trouble signing in, making matches, account recovery. I can't listen to any of the voicemails of angry fans that I don't add to my gamer tag list. Now, Major Nelson, he's an Xbox Live spokesperson. He stated that teams are working around the clock to fix the problems. And, I think now the service is pretty much restored. It's in working order. But, Kevin, what do you think happened here? Did the problem simply stem from Microsoft selling a bunch of consoles over the holidays and everyone was trying to connect to Live at once?
I don't think so, because think about when Halo 3 launched, that was a huge week for them when that game sold.
Right.
And they had all those people getting online to play the multiplayer, and we didn't have problems like this. So I don't think it was that. It may be tied to whatever they're going to be announcing at CES next week, but I'm just kind of frustrated that even Major Nelson hasn't told us, here's what went wrong, and here's what we're going to do to keep this from happening.
Well, do you expect that they'll give us those answers anytime soon, or are they just going to sit on it and call it a day?
I think they're going to hope whatever happens next week washes that bad taste out of our mouth.
That's true. Now, Veronica, there's been some reports and some rumors that Microsoft is maybe toying with the idea of giving Xbox Live users some compensation. Do you agree that they should? And if so, what do you think they should actually do for the Live users?
I think some good compensation for all the downtime might be some Microsoft points so people can buy some demos or themes and that kind of thing.
Yeah, don't tack extra time onto our already yearly subscription. We want points or something of value, something good.
And again, not another copy of Uno. We got enough Xbox Live arcade games. All right, now after 2 months of striking late-night television, it's back up and running. And, Letterman and Craig Ferguson, they had the writers. Of course, Jay, Conan, and Kimmel did not. Chris, we'll go to you for this one. Do you think late night, can it really survive without the writers?
Actually, no. I don't think it's gonna be funny as it used to be. But also, there's an opportunity for it to actually be interesting for once, because without the writers, we might see some real moments. I think Jimmy Kimmel, of all of them, had at least the most honest, rant on camera. So I'm hoping that it'll feel less rehearsed, and Leno will kind of break out of those, stale interviews he always does.
I agree with you there. Now, Kevin, Wednesday was the first night back. Who won the night for you?
I feel like Letterman won in the whole supporting the writers way. They had the girls come out with the strike signs, and the writers came and delivered the top 10 list. But Conan really had a lot of energy for me, and the fact that he was making so much fun of the fact that they were doing the show without writers really made it sort of fresh and more interesting to watch for me.
Right. Now, all eyes on late night, that's one thing, but I think a lot of eyes are focused on CES, of course, and the rumors are everywhere that the big announcements that Microsoft are going to be making at CES next week, they're supposed to be huge, earth-shattering, and Chris, what do you think? What's Microsoft supposed to be announcing?
Well, I'm excited if the rumors are true. Basically, HD DVD internal drive for the new Xbox, a hard drive that will give it TiVo-like functionality, and licensing the Xbox itself to other companies so they can add an Xbox, say, to a TiVo. So it'll be able to do more.
Now, that was an interesting rumor. Veronica, what do you think? Is there any weight to that? I know you were shaking your head through some of that.
Yeah. As much as I would love to see the HD DVD drive integrated with the Xbox 360, I don't think that they're going to do that. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that because really, in the long run, I think they want to sell HD content on Marketplace and not necessarily be, dealing with disc formats. And also, it drives the price of the Xbox 360 way up, and I think that's not something they want to do either.
Now, what about the whole licensing the 360 technology to other companies? Do you think something like that could actually happen?
Well, Toshiba has flat out said that they're not going to be doing anything like that. I mean, people have denied things of that nature in the past, but it really just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
All right, well, very quickly, I want to get to something that sort of got lost over the holidays. Peter Jackson and New Line Cinema, they finally made up. They're good now. They're back to friends on the old MySpace. The dispute is settled. The Hobbit movie is on its way. Now, Peter doesn't plan to direct the film, but the story is going to be broken up into 2 different movies, which some people are very excited for. Chris, what do you think needs to happen to make this Hobbit franchise a success like a Lord of the Rings?
I don't think it'll be a success like a Lord of the Rings. Jackson isn't directing. If they get Sam Raimi, I think that would be a great step forward. But this feels direct to DVD for me, because is there enough real interesting material in The Hobbit to make 2 movies? I mean, it's going to seem kind of less than epic based on what we saw in Lord of the Rings.
Veronica was saddened by that prospect, though. Veronica, what do you think? Not direct to DVD material?
It's totally going to be epic. epic. You can't go wrong. Well, I mean, I guess you could go wrong, but I think it's going to be awesome.
It lacks the battles of the original. It really just doesn't have it story-wise unless they completely change it.
Kevin, what do you think? With Peter Jackson not directing, are you worried for this?
I was worried for it, like when it didn't happen immediately after the success of the first 3 films. Ian Holm, who played Bilbo in those films, is way too old to play Bilbo in this movie. The fact that, like Chris said, they're putting it into 2 films, that's one of the slimmest novels of those series. And what are they going to do? Stretch this out, and people are going to be frustrated when that first film ends, and they have to wait a year for the second one. I just think it sounds like a totally bad idea.
Veronica, are you still excited despite all this conversation?
I like having anticipation. I like having one film come out and then have to wait for the next one. So I would definitely go see both.
All right, there you go. I want to thank my guests, Chris, Veronica, and Kevin. Thank you guys so much for keeping us in the loop.
Attack of the Show, weeknights at 7, only on G4.